being stuck and isolated in a hospital room, being poked with needles, always being sick, always being in pain, never being able to go out, hang out with your friends, go to school, not living a normal life. That's what children with cancer experience every day. Everyone had a childhood, either it was good or bad. They got to play with their friends, they got to go out, they got to go to the park, they got to go to school, well, tragically, but they went to school, they did everything. But kids with cancer didn't get to do this. They didn't get to experience a normal childhood. I've done extensive research and gone to volunteer at Valley Children's Hospital 5 hours a week, and this has made me feel that I'm comfortable to talk about this topic. Today I will inform you on childhood cancer and what it's like to have this as a child. And I will explain the types of cancer, what the hardships of the children with cancer go through, and a glimpse in the life of a kid with cancer. And then this is just like hope and someone in the hospital. And so the different types, the most common type of cancer is leukemia. This comes up with 30% of all types of, most common. And there's two different types of leukemia. There's acute myelogenous leukemia, which is also known as AML, and then there's acute lymphocytic leukemia, which is ALL. Leukemia is a bone marrow and blood cancer, and some of the symptoms are bone and joint pain, weakness, pale skin, bleeding or bruising, fatigue, and the fever. The second most common cancer would be the central nervous system tumors, which is also neuroblastoma. Neuro means nerves, and blastoma is a type of cancer that happens during the early stage of cells in an embryo or a fetus. And this usually happens to kids after or before 10. It's very rare that you would get this cancer after 10 because it's most common in your development of nerve cells. And this cancer makes up 26% of all childhood cancer. Now I will inform you on the hardships of cancer that children go through. So imagine not being able to go hang out or go play or be able to exercise, because children with cancer aren't allowed to do this because their body isn't strong enough, or they're always tired, or they never feel good. Imagine just sitting in your bed not doing anything, just watching the same shows over again or playing the same board games. Kids with cancer aren't able to do as much because they aren't fully developed, especially as kids, but especially with cancer. Except they want kids to go out and be active, because if they aren't, then they'll get more weak, or they won't be able to do most. They'll lose more weight or gain more weight, which can cause issues with the sickness. And then there's also the emotional and the weakness of hardships such as hair loss, nutrition, dental care. Most kids have mouth issues like red and white sores, or their whole tongue is coated in white, or they get canker sores and they hurt and then you're in pain for 2 weeks. Most kids also don't have strong teeth. So usually when I'm at the hospital, I see kids that have all silver teeth, and it's kind of sad because they can't help it. Or there's hair loss, and it's kind of depressing when you lose your hair. But most people are excited to get bandanas, or you can see the little girl who's drawing hair on her head, which is sad to see. But they have hats and then bandanas. And last week at the hospital, I saw a girl got her wig for the first time, and she was so excited. But it's sad because she can't wear the wig out; she has to wear a hat on top. They have a little sock right here, and then the hair comes down. But it looks real, but it's not your real hair. You still had to go through the pain of losing it all or shaving it off. And it's honestly hard for these kids to go through this. And these are some of the symptoms that you would see with people going through childhood cancer.
Oh, don't worry, you just press the button and go.
And then next I'll talk about the life of a child with cancer, or the glimpse of a life of a child with cancer. So imagine you're sitting in a hospital bed, playing the same board games, watching the same TV shows, just sitting there. Can't do anything, you can't go out. You just sit there getting poked with needles, and when you go to bed, you hear everyone's monitors going off. It's a really loud sound, it actually scares me every time it goes off. Or you can't go to the bathroom because the nurse has to help you in there. He has to unlock the door, he has to help you move your steel pole, and they just get excited to see one person walk in and play a game with them. Like, I get bored playing the same games. It's always Candyland or Sorry or Apples to Apples. And these kids don't get to play different games. They don't get to learn the new games everyone goes through because their parents and siblings can't be there 24/7. They make their friends with the person next to them in the hospital room. And then outside of the hospital, they still lay in bed because you can't go to school, because if you get a cold, it can hurt your body or it can make the cancer worse or anything. So these kids lay in bed, inside or outside of the hospital. They don't get to go to school. And even if you get cleared from the hospital, it takes a long process to get out of just homeschool and into the school, and some never get to go back, which is hard. You're always just doing the same thing, the same routine, and always in pain, and giving the same medicine.
On Tracy, I think मेरे पे आता है reply. Reloading the video and then it should do it.
We read to each other all the time.
I like to do crafts and other like fun games with my brother. I can only go out alone in the children's hospital, so that really stinks. I am shy and I have 2 months left. I never feel inside me that it wasn't right.
We went from a cyst, which it wasn't, to a severely life-threatening condition. So it was very fast. They needed to flight the life to get her to the children's hospital in Denver because her trachea was in such a precarious state.
I got on the helicopter, said goodbye, and that was that. The next step was to get me chemo immediately.
When they said it was a 2-year treatment plan, what that means is if you can go 2 years straight through of chemo, you'll be done in 2 years. What we've since learned is
that nobody can go 2 years straight through.
the
Children with cancer go through so many awful challenges. They don't get to live the same life as us. They don't get to have the same fun we get to have as kids, playing with our friends, the memories we made. They remember getting poked with needles and sitting in the hospital room. These kids don't get the life we get to have. So today I've explained to you the types of cancer, what it's like to be like the life of a child with cancer, and the hardships they face. Why do we get to live a normal, healthy life but isolate those who suffer every day in the hospital?